and we are going to do some finish on these pretty petals. Yes, we are. This is for the 4x4 for education for the brush gallery. Yes, and I thought it would be good to do a demonstration with it. Yep, since it's 4x4 for education. So we are going to get started, and it's Marvelous Monday at 4 o'clock. Oh, painting a 4x4. So I'm going to flip us down. Yes, I am, and I am going to get started. All right. So we started this. I started this last week with you guys, and we're going to switch, and we're going to drop it down. Then I'm going to move over just a smidgen, so I'm right in the center. We're going to go up a little bit higher. So we did a lot. I did a lot of creation of the actual petal formation last week, and I heavily tinted it. All right. So this is a white flower, but whites always have tints of color in them, and we're gonna do the finish. And last week when I did it, it was messy, 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 messy. And this week it's gonna be a little bit more refined. Okay, so we're gonna put out some warm white. Yes, we are. We're gonna put out some warm white, and I would love it if you could like, comment, and share. That would be wonderful. All right, so this, what do I have in my hand? I have a 14, and we're gonna do some of the bigger work here in the back. All right, and I'm gonna reload that. I put a little too much paint on it. We're just gonna side load it, and we're gonna blend it out in our palette. All right, I'm gonna move over and make a little room here. And we're going to do these top ones first, all right? And we're going to come down. This is the paint side of my brush. And we're going to come down just like that. All right? Yeah. And we're going to come down and bring this petal in. Now, this is acrylic. So what that means is that it dries an entire value darker. And we're bringing in the lights. Okay, this is a white flower, so it's got enough dark in it. Okay, I really think it has enough dark in it, and we're going to bring a little bit more in right here. Okay, and this is the center of the flower. The center of the flower, when you're painting flowers, is the growth, and we're going to come in from here. And this is going to turn in a little bit different. All right, I'm going to turn it around just a little tiny bit. All right, and we're going to come in towards the growth. All right, and we want to keep our paint a little bit transparent because we don't want to lose all those beautiful colors. Okay, and then we come in again. Yep, Marvelous Mondays are in acrylic, and Thankful Thursdays are in oil. And we're coming in towards the growth. Here we go. And that's looking pretty good. All right, on this corner, this is a 4x4, and this is probably, it's a very deep canvas for such a small canvas. I have to measure it to be exact. So I am bringing it over the edge because it looks better. Okay. And then some of this in the back we're going to bring in with some heavy duty white. And we want to keep the flow of the petals, you know, petals flow, buildings are erected. Yeah, and I am working on some buildings on Thursdays in oil. And it's very important on buildings to keep them straight, but it's very important on flowers to make sure that the petals continue to flow. All right, and that's looking good. All right, here we go. Yes, it is. I think that's looking pretty good. All right. There we go. We're doing the outside and the heaviest ones first because we're going to bring in a little bit of texture as we come closer in on this side of it. All right. Here we go. I'm not liking that one, so I'm not worrying about it. I'm just going to lift that off right there where I don't like it. There we go. All right. So the tints on this are in Prussian blue and permanent alizarin. And yep, this is the water side of my brush, and we're just coming in and giving this a good, yeah, we're bringing in the lights, which is going to bring the flower to life. All right, and then we are on the inside. We're going to bring in a little bit more texture. All right. And some of it we'll do more than once. All right. Because it will, you need to. And every time you do it, it's going to get a little bit lighter. Okay. So, yep, this is, I should really measure it to tell you. I think this is a 2-inch canvas here. I'm going to add a little bit more flow in there. There we go. And how you pull the stroke is going to help to create the form. Okay. And you pull it towards the growth. Growth comes from the center. Okay. Flowers are about flowing. Landscape is about texture. And buildings are about erection. They're erected. The buildings are erected. The lines are very, very straight. I'm going to do a little texturing into this now. This is the water side of my brush, and I'm going to tap down. I'm going to tap it down, just like that. I'm going to clean off my brush, and I'm going to tap again with a clean brush that's got some water in it. There we go. And that gives it a nice texture. There we go. And I'm going to dry it so you can see what happens when it dries. All right. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to see what happens when it dries. My friend Linda suggested this dryer for me, and so I can keep talking to you while I'm drying away here. All right, now I have to tell you something. This area right here is a pretty hard edge, and we want to keep it hard. I'm going to clean off. I'm going to take a smaller brush. All right, and we're going to just tap, 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 tap. There, just like that. Tap, 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 tap. Just like that. And I have a great painting program called Painting Journey. We're doing an oil seminar this weekend, which I'm pretty excited about. We're going to do a nice still life. All right, and that got a little too heavy, so we just lift it off. Here we go. And I'm going to come out like this. Too much paint. Just take it off your brush. There. Okay. All right, now I'm going to add a little bit more white. It's not quite as white as I want it to be. I am sticking with this 8. These are black gold from Dynasty brushes. They're great brushes. And I'm going to bring some nuances in here. There we go. Pull it down, just like that. And in here, pull it down, just like that. Acrylics do dry an entire value darker. We want to keep the flow of this flower into the growth, even as we build in a little bit of this texturing. We want to make sure it all pulls towards the growth. There we go. I got a little heavy, and so I'm just going to lift it off. Yeah, and just add a few little nuances here and there. And if something happens that you don't like, you just pull it off. There we go. I think that's getting good. I think that's almost done. Just a few more little highlights back in here. Back in here. Working on the chisel edge. I'm working with my 8. It's just giving me a little bit more control. It's a smaller brush. There we go. All right, now I am going to start to put in the center because the center is going to make a difference. So we're going to do the center with a little bit of raw sienna. We're going to start with the dark. The darkest dark in the center is burnt umber. Yeah, and I'm going to go in with my smaller brush. And what is this? This is probably a 2. Okay, and I have some burnt umber. And we're going to put the burnt umber in just like that. Okay? Just like that. All right. I know it looks very odd. It's going to look odd for a little while. There we go. The next color that we're going to put on is going to be some burnt sienna. And I'm going to bring that out a little bit further into the flower. Okay. And just tap, tap, tap it in. Tap, tap, tap it in. Yeah. Just like that. Bring that up there. The dark, there needs to be some dark down in here. Okay. And then the next color we're going to go with is going to be raw sienna. And it's messy. You want to keep it nice and messy. All right. And this is raw sienna. All right. There we go. And then we're going to go into Hansa Yellow. Hansa Yellow is a transparent color. So we're going to add a tiny touch in the beginning of warm white to it. And Fancy yellow and warm white. Okay, makes it less transparent. And we're going to tap that in like that. Okay, there we go. All right. Now, there's a couple of areas that we're going to go backwards on. And we're going to bring in a little bit more burnt sienna into the center. And then a little more burnt umber to bring in some real darks into the center. And that's good. Now I'm going to let that sit overnight and let it dry out so we can see what we got. All right, and I might go in there with a little bit more of the highlight. Okay, and that's going to do it. And next week, I think that we'll do some focusing on some skies. Yes, some nice, beautiful skies. Maybe a beautiful sunset. That might be a good thing to focus on. There's a nice, beautiful sunset. All right, and I want to thank you all for stopping by. And I want you to have a fabulous, fabulous week. Hi, Yvonne. And we'll see you all real soon.